So, where the danger is going to come from is the unexpected equipment failure. Look, as best as a manufacturer can try, they're making a device, they're making a battery, they're making something that's going to operate within limits of tolerance. And listen, sometimes equipment fails. These batteries are not going to last me forever. You understand? They have a life. To the best of their function, I might get 6 months to a year out of these things, but that also depends on how I vape, what kind of strain I put these under, how often I charge them. I have 18 of these. I counted them today. 18 650 batteries. I have 18 of them. Why? Because these two are married to this device. These two are married to this device. I've got this device has 6 batteries, 2 sets. It takes 3 18 650 batteries. So I have one set that's in it and another set that's already charged and ready to go. And I don't even use this every day, but I've got specific batteries just dedicated because I don't want to use those batteries in something else. Then I have a couple of free floating. Actually, my oldest batteries that I have, the ones that have been charged the most times, they go in a single 18 650. Because I know when I'm hitting this thing, based on how it hits, how that battery is performing. You'll learn this over time. You know when you put a fresh battery in a device, it's going to have the most current, the most charge, the most power, and then as it keeps discharging, through normal discharge, it's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And you know at the point at which your vape is weak enough that it's time to charge the battery or batteries again. Along the way you start figuring out maybe this build is a little too aggressive for this one device. Maybe I should be using a device that uses a bigger battery, something that can handle faster amp draw. Or maybe it's not a mechanical device at all, that you need to go and upgrade to something that's regulated, something that not only has more power but safe power, but you can regulate and adjust how. You can't expect these guys over here to do the same thing that this guy will do. You can't expect this to perform the same way this will. So know your equipment, know what you're asking your equipment to do, and know when you're going to be, a car has an RPM gauge, most cars do, so, normal safe operating range of a car is revolutions per minute, anywhere between 800 at idle to maybe 3,600, 4,500 RPMs, revolutions per minute, and then it has this red zone. And then if the needle goes up into the red zone, it says, hey, you're doing it, but you shouldn't stay here. This is not a safe operating range. Well, these things don't come with this safe operating range, but actually there's charts online. You should go and find a bunch of them. You got to check for the resistance that you're using, for the battery that you're using, for the volts it's putting out, for the watts that you're drawing, to charge that device. Take a look at, see if you're in a safe vaping range, and if you're not, understand that. Doesn't mean nobody's over there looking over your shoulder. There's no vaping police, although there should be. But know what you're doing. Also, here's the other area of danger. When you buy something, even if you buy something from a manufacturer, take a look at it. Make sure that it looks okay, it's not wonky, and approach cautiously. Don't start out vaping something at its maximum range. Start out low. Go up in gradual increments. You just did a new build. You put that new build on your atomizer, on your battery or whatever device you're using. Okay, don't just jump off the cliff. Check and see if the water's too shallow for you to land first. So start out vaping and then increase it. What's an example of that? Well, you don't get any options. You don't get any options with unregulated. So just maybe a quick 5-second, I got to show you. Maybe you don't take a 7-second hit off of this the first time you're putting a new RDA on there. Maybe you just hit it a couple of times. Maybe you just take a quick half-second sip. See how that goes. Test the waters. Put your toe in. I'll show you what I mean in a few minutes. But also, if you're buying unregulated things, this is a box mod I bought, unregulated. It was made, custom made by a guy. Now, I didn't know him at the time I bought it. I bought it and I fired it up and it works well. So now I have trust in him. But, you know, you got to approach these things cautiously. You got to take a look. To the best of appearances, it looks clean. It looks neat. It looks like the guy knew what he was doing. But I don't know. There could be something down in there like that I missed. And I'm not an expert on these things. How would I know if something is poorly designed? Well, here's one way to know. This, in a moment of weakness with Facebook and different various people, I bought this is an unregulated. Now look, this is a Hammond box. It's metal. It's solid. The connections are solid. I actually know where Fat Daddy vapes. I know where a lot of these parts come from. You look in here, and I've looked at a lot of pictures. I get this because it was cheap, and the guy who I trusted, the guy who was selling them, I said that guy wouldn't be selling junk. This thing is a piece of crap. This thing is like a kid's toy. It's plastic. It's flimsy little plastic. I could probably snap this. I could snap this with my fingers if I wanted to. This is not a device that I put batteries in it and I used it once, but this is not a device that I actually use it as a voltmeter these days, just to see where my batteries. Look, see my batteries. It's 4.414, 415. That tells me that how much charge is on my battery, but I'm not hitting this thing. You understand? It doesn't. It's not equipment that I deem to be useful to me. And I'd rather spend. And I'll be honest. This was $65. This is not worth $65. This is probably about $5 worth of maybe $7 worth of materials, and the guy who put this together, so for his time. But, you know, will it work? Is it dangerous? It works, and it's probably not very dangerous, but do I want to use something like this repeatedly all the time? No. I'm going to use something like this. I'd rather spend $100 for the $35 extra. I'd rather buy something like this that uses thick wire. I mean, look at the two of these. What's the difference? This is cheap plastic. This is metal. Okay, solid. Does that mean quality? Well, no, because the Segali and the IPV, these are plastic. So plastic doesn't necessarily mean cheap quality, but I mean just the feel of them and the difference. I feel like this one's more reliable. The wires are thicker, but you know, how about this? I'm leery and suspicious of this one. I'm leery and suspicious of anything I use, but I'm more trusting of this one. But I still don't blindly throw caution to the wind. I pay attention to how my gear is responding. I'll show you something else that's cute and funny. It's a joke. I'm not going to be vaping on this every day. This is a box mod I got on eBay. This was only $32, I believe, or $36 with shipping. I like the Trailer Park Boys. It's a funny TV show. It's one of the best of all time, in my opinion. But this is a Sucrets box, and it's a single 18650. Yes, it works. I have vaped it, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how tiny. It just goes to show you how very simply one can manufacture something that will fire a device. But is this something that I want to use every day? Hell no. This is cute. It's funny. It goes on my collection. I have vaped on it. I took video of me vaping on it, and that's about it. It's not going to be in the rotation. Why? Because I don't deem it to be a reliable device. It is funny. And look, for $32, that's fine. It's not like the guy was charging hundreds of dollars for this. This is cheap. You get what you pay for. I'm just saying, I approach cautiously any device. I pay attention to their performance and how they respond. You know when your coil's gone because of the taste, because you're paying attention to that. You know what it tastes like when it tastes good. You know what it tastes like when it tastes bad. That tells you to change a coil. You know when you've got a short in your RDA somewhere because it starts tasting yucky, burnt, weird, sketchy. Something's off. So you have to pay attention to these things. You have to be aware of these things. And that tells you, okay, I need to inspect something over here. Something has changed. Something in my operation over here is different. Let me not blindly keep going, because the consequence of that is danger. Let's face it. Mech mods, ooh, that's got a live battery in it, so I'm not going to go. Mech mods have a fire button on the bottom. Okay, if you put this in your pocket and there's something in there that's going to, you're going to be auto-firing this thing in your pocket when you weren't intending to, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to burn out. It's going to burn through the juice. It's going to burn through the cotton. You might have a fire. If it keeps going, you might vent a battery. If it gets hot enough, starts melting, you're going to have a bomb in your pocket. Then you see the YouTube videos, or you see the Facebook pictures and the news and stuff like that, the guy with the burns on his crotch. Yeah, and you know what? It can happen very, very quickly, because that button doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. So you got to pay attention to these things. I have auto-fired this one in my own pocket. I put it in my pocket right here. I forgot I had a little bottle of juice. I heard a sizzling, and it took me a few seconds to figure out what is that noise. It just sounded like static from the radio. And I was like, uh-oh, and I grabbed my thing. It was hot as hell. Fortunately, it didn't go long enough to really injure me, but that could have happened. It was not intentional, and I consider that I consider myself to be someone who knows what they're doing, but, accidents do happen. So let's try and prevent them as best we can.